Hey, this is the Review Junkie, and today I'll be reviewing the new action adventure movie Avatar 2: The Way of Water. As always, my review will be illustrated and the artwork is done by myself. And if you like movies and art and comic books, please hit that subscribe button because all of my movie reviews are hand drawn, and I'd like to get to 1,000 subscribers soon so my channel can be official. This movie stars Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver, Stephen Lang, Kate Winslet, and Cliff Curtis. And once again, it's directed and co-written by James Cameron. This is a non-spoiler review, so everything I discuss will have been shown in the trailer. Absolutely no spoilers. I'll tell you briefly about the plot, the characters, my pros and cons, final thoughts, and if this is worth checking out at your local movie theater. Plot-wise, this picks up right after where the first one ended, albeit a few years have gone by. Jake and Achiri have settled down and started a family. He has 4 kids in total, and the youngest kid actually sounds like Thumper from Bambi. I kid you not. Of course, the happy life is short-lived when the RDA returns and are once again chasing after something, but this time it's something new altogether. We also have the return of Lang's character who is settling an old score, and because of his return, Jake's family is now in danger and he has to do everything to protect them. We also get introduced to a new tribe, the Reef People, whom are aquatic based. So I'm going to get right to the point, and this is definitely worth the wait and worth seeing on the big screen. The plot isn't anything new or inventive. We've seen countless films about a family protecting their children. It's no different than Terminator and Aliens, but here we have it on such a grand scope on Pandora, and because it's the Na'vi people, including a new tribe, sea creatures, and tons of sci fi elements, it really makes a story used countless times over sort of seem brand new. Now, my first pro, of course, is what everyone is here to see, which are the visuals. There is nothing I can say that hasn't already been said. They're stunning and obviously better than the first, given the enhancements in technology. At times, the first one did have a PlayStation 3 video game vibe to it, where you see blue creatures walking around, but they look light and airy, like they had no weight to them. But here, there's definitely way more detail, and they seem to have weight when they're walking. I think all those enhancements help to really pull the audience in even more to be immersed in the story. There are so much details in their facial expressions, and you see when they're happy and sad without the characters even saying a word. The underwater scenes were spectacular, and you get more of those punchy colors when it's nighttime, and all those colors are just shimmering. It just pops under night colored water. I call them Samsung Super AMOLED colors, candy for the eyes. Next, I like Sigourney Weaver's character in the film. They plant all these little clues and nuggets, but no full explanation is provided on her character, but the film did focus on her a lot. She's very elusive and has a lot of mystery around her, so I'm excited to see where all that setup goes, and I thought her performance was believable for the most part. I also like the relationship building between the young kids because it was established so well that immediately off the bat you got a sense they genuinely cared about each other. Now, about 1 hour into the movie is where the water sequences start, so you don't want to miss any of that. But with my bad luck, that's the time I had to use the bathroom, and I ended up taking 2 bathroom breaks in total and missed a few minutes. And my first break, I actually ended up refilling my soda, so I held it in as long as I could to soak up most of the underwater sequences in the second act. Now, another pro is the third act. It was very intense, and there was one moment where I really had no idea what was going to happen and was on the edge of my seat. The relationships between some of the characters are established, but not so fully fleshed out for everyone. So during the third act, where it was an eye for an eye situation, I really had no clue what direction it was going. It was very intense. Now, I don't have any cons for this film, but audiences may naturally think they know who the obvious villains are in the film, but I actually think there's a hidden villain that maybe people may have missed altogether. This character makes some of the most horrible choices and sets off a chain reaction of horrific events that impacts so many people, and never once did the character own up to it or apologize. And in one scene, this person actually had the audacity to throw blame on someone else. Okay? Okay. Next is the plot. There is a lot of wash, rinse, and repeat from the original, but I feel a film of this magnitude, audiences are really here for the visual spectacle. Whether you find yourself immersed in the story, their journey may be secondary on the director's to-do list. For example, the water sequences are so long, and do we really need to watch them look at sea creatures for more than 5 seconds? No. But he's giving us what we paid for, which are those aha moments. Now, this is not a con, but there are a lot of horrible things that happen in this film, including to some of the sea creatures. And I know it's CGI, but I actually felt sad when all those things were happening to them. It was very unsettling. Now, if you're here for Jake and Zoe, you may be a tad disappointed because they get a bit shortchanged in this film. There are things that happen to Zoe, and I feel she never got to express her feelings when those situations happened, which was disappointing. The emphasis is really on the kids in this one. So I also like how one of the kids had literal blue balls during a scene where he meets his female crush for the first time. Literal blue, not metaphorically blue, because he's already blue. Okay? Okay. I also had to look up certain actors because I had no idea who Kate Winslet was playing. Everyone suddenly had a made up accent like the Amazons used in Wonder Woman. Now, this brings me to my final thoughts, and I was going to give this an 8, but this film gets a solid high 9 out of 10 from me because it is such an achievement from a visual standpoint, and you really feel the dedication from Cameron. Everything is so meticulously done from the world building to the 3D to the action sequences. It's big and epic in scope, and not to be missed, and I'll most likely be watching this 2 more times. Now, I kept waiting for the 3D moments, and I think it distracted from the emotional beats the movie was striving for because I wouldn't say I had an emotional connection or I was invested in their journey, but that may change on a second viewing. And even though the plot feels recycled and feels more like setup for a third film, I still highly recommend you check this out in 3D if you can, because sitting there and having things appear as if they're close enough to touch is a lot of fun. You'd be doing yourself a big disservice if you miss this in 3D. So support your local movie theaters and see this on the big screen where it's meant to be seen. Now, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you like, please subscribe, helps the channel out a lot. Hit that thumbs up button. Feel free to share this with your friends. Thanks for checking out my review. Hope you enjoyed it. And leave your comments below on whether you like the film or not. And I hope the pictures put a smile on your face.